There was a woman, I'll call her Maya, who spent 43 years being everyone's soft place to fall. She was the one who answered the phone at midnight when her sister was crying. She was the one who stayed late at work so her colleague wouldn't get in trouble. She was the one who smiled at the dinner party even when her own heart was in pieces on the floor. She remembered everyone's birthdays. She showed up. She always showed up. And then one Tuesday afternoon, nothing dramatic happened. No big event. No crisis. She was just sitting in her car in a parking lot outside a grocery store, and she realized she couldn't remember the last time someone had asked her how she was doing, and meant it, and waited for the answer. She sat there for a long time, and then she thought something that surprised her. She thought, I have been so kind to everyone. Everyone except me. Maybe you know that parking lot. Maybe you've sat in it yourself, not the physical one, of course, but that quiet, still moment when the busyness drops away and you catch a glimpse of something true, something you've been running from, maybe without even knowing you were running. If you have, this is for you. I want to talk today about something that sounds simple, but is actually one of the most radical, most quietly revolutionary things a human being can do. I want to talk about turning the kindness you so freely give to others, and finally, gently, bravely, turning it toward yourself. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't that selfish? Shouldn't we be giving, caring, generous? And yes, absolutely yes, generosity is one of the most beautiful qualities a human being can cultivate. But here is what I've noticed, and what I've seen again and again in myself and in the people I've worked with over many decades. When we abandon ourselves to please others, when we shrink, apologize for our needs, silence our own pain, betray our own inner knowing just to keep the peace or to be loved, we don't actually become more generous. We become depleted. We become resentful even if we don't let ourselves admit it. We become a little hollow, and from that hollow place the giving we do is not really giving at all. It's more like bleeding. True generosity, the kind that sustains, the kind that actually helps, it has to come from somewhere full. And you cannot fill a cup that you refuse to acknowledge as empty. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why we do this, why we become so skilled at caring for everyone around us, and so utterly clumsy and reluctant when it comes to caring for ourselves. Here's what I think is happening, and I say this with so much tenderness because I've done it too, and most of us have. Somewhere along the way, we got a very subtle, very persistent message. The message was this: your needs are too much. Your pain is inconvenient. If you want to be loved, make yourself easy. Make yourself useful. Don't ask for too much. Don't feel too loudly. Don't take up too much space. And we learned it well. We became experts at it. We learned to swallow the hurt before anyone could see it. We learned to smile and say, I'm fine, when we were anything but fine. We learned to give and give and give, and then privately, in the quiet of our own minds, wonder why we felt so invisible, so alone, even when surrounded by the very people we'd been working so hard to please. And here's the painful irony of it all. The more we abandon ourselves, the more frightened we become, because deep down there's a part of us that knows we've been making ourselves smaller, that knows we've been betraying something essential, and that knowledge sits there quietly like a stone in the chest, and we feel it every time we say yes when we mean no, every time we bite our tongue, every time we give the last piece of ourselves away, and then wonder why we feel so terribly, mysteriously exhausted. The Tibetan word that comes to mind here is shempa. It's hard to translate, but it's something like that sticky hooked feeling, that automatic pull, the reflex of abandoning yourself before someone else even asks you to. The way we reach for self-erasure the moment we sense any threat to connection or belonging. And here's what I want you to hear very clearly, with all the gentleness I can offer. That reflex makes complete sense. It is not weakness. It is not pathetic. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is the response of a very smart, very adaptive human being who learned early on that this was the price of love, that this was the cost of safety. But you're older now, and perhaps it's time to look at that old strategy with kind eyes and ask, is it still serving you, or has it become the very thing that's causing your pain? Now, and this is important, I'm not suggesting you go out tomorrow and start saying no to everyone and making demands and throwing the old self out the window. That's not what this is. This is something much more gentle, much more patient, much more interesting, actually. What I'm suggesting is something closer to noticing, just noticing the next time you feel that pull, that urge to shrink, to silence yourself, to give something away that you don't actually have to give. See if you can just pause, just for a breath, and get a little curious. What's happening in your body right now? Is there a tightness in the chest, a clenching in the belly, a kind of bracing, like you're waiting for something to go wrong? Just notice. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to explain it or justify it or make it go away. Just let yourself know it's there. That noticing, that tiny, humble, honest act of noticing, that is the beginning of everything. That is the first act of self-compassion. It doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't feel like a breakthrough, but it is one. It really, truly is. Because what we're practicing here is something that sounds so ordinary and is so profoundly difficult. We are practicing being a witness to our own experience. We are practicing saying, even if only to ourselves, even just in the silence of our own heart, something is happening here. I matter enough to notice it. That's the practice. That's the radical act. Just that. And then, after the noticing, we can begin to do something else. Something I think of as bringing the same warmth you'd offer a dear friend and offering it to yourself. Think about someone you love. Maybe a child. Maybe an old friend. Maybe someone who came to you once, tears streaming, feeling broken and hopeless. And you took their hands and you looked at them and you said, without thinking, without hesitation, it's okay. You're not broken. This is hard. I see you. I'm here. You didn't tell them to get it together. You didn't say, well, you really should have handled that better. You didn't make them feel small for struggling. You were kind. You were simply naturally, beautifully kind. Can you begin to be that to yourself? Not as a performance, not as a technique, but as something real, as something that grows slowly and stubbornly, like a plant finding light through a crack in concrete. Here's what that might actually look like in the real world, because I know we need practical things to hold on to. The first thing is what I'd call the honest pause. Before you say yes to something, before you agree to take on more, before you smooth over your own hurt with a quick "I'm fine," take just one breath, one, and in that breath ask yourself, is this coming from genuine love and willingness? Or is it coming from fear of what happens if I say no? You don't have to act differently yet. Just know. Just let yourself know the truth of it. The second thing is this. Practice saying true things in small doses, not the big dramatic declarations, just small true things. If someone asks how you are and you're not actually fine, maybe try just once saying, honestly, it's been a hard week. See what happens. Often you'll find that people respond with more warmth than you expected, and if they don't, well, that's information too. It's gentle, honest, real information about who can actually hold you. The third thing is a kind of inner dialogue that I find enormously helpful. When you notice yourself contracting, when you feel that old shame, that old not enough feeling, try speaking to that part of yourself the way you'd speak to a small frightened child. Because that's often what it is. Some younger version of you, still operating on very old information, you might say something like, I know this is scary. It makes sense that you're scared. I'm here. We're okay. It's allowed to feel a little ridiculous at first. That's fine. Do it anyway. And the fourth thing, perhaps the most important, is this. Begin again and again and again. This is not a practice you get right and then you're done. This is a lifelong, gentle, patient, sometimes fumbling practice of returning to yourself. You will forget. You will slip back into old patterns. You will catch yourself 3 days later realizing you've been running on empty again, pleasing everyone, invisible to yourself. And when that happens, and it will happen, please do not make yourself wrong for it. Please do not add self-criticism to the pile of things you're already carrying. Just notice and begin again. That beginning again, with kindness, without drama, that is the whole practice. That is all of it. There's something I love to come back to, a simple image that has helped me so many times. Imagine you are the sky, vast and open and unchanging, and everything that moves through you, the storms, the clouds, the wild weather of your thoughts and feelings and old patterns, all of that is just weather. It passes through. It doesn't change what the sky is. Your anxiety, weather. Your longing to be loved and approved of, weather. Your old habit of shrinking, weather. It comes and it feels very real and very big and very permanent, and then it moves. And you are still there, still the sky, still whole. You have always been whole, even when you felt most broken, most invisible, most lost. You were whole. The wholeness was just clouded over, hidden beneath the weather, but it was there. It has always been there. And here is what I want to leave you with, dear one, as we come to the end of this time together. The world doesn't need more people who have learned to disappear. The world needs more people who have learned to be present to themselves first, to their own truth, to their own quiet, persistent, overlooked needs. Because when you learn to care for yourself with genuine warmth, not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly, something changes, not just inside you, but in how you move through the world, in how you love, in what you have to give. You stop giving from depletion, you start giving from abundance. And that gift, the gift that comes from a full and honest and self-respecting heart, that is something entirely different. That is something the people in your life can feel. That is something that actually truly helps. So, maybe today, just today, try turning a little of that enormous kindness you carry toward yourself. Not all of it, just a little, just enough to remember that you too are worth it. You too deserve gentleness. You too are allowed to matter. Begin there, just there, and see what grows. If something in this touched you today, if it reached something true, I gently invite you to share it with someone who might need to hear it, someone who gives and forgets to give to themselves. And if you'd like to keep walking this path together, there's more here waiting for you, more teachings, more gentle reminders, more company for the journey. You don't have to do this alone. You never did.